Welcome back to Tiny Artist TV. Today is going to be character number 8, or day 8 of the color palette challenge that I'm taking on, where I'm taking the 115 color palettes that I've generated over the past couple of years and creating characters with them. So I already have my palettes pulled up and my number generators on the second tab here, so let's go ahead and find out what palette we're going to be using for today's video. Number 22. Rain and Lilies. I have used this one before. I remember specifically which one I've used for this, and I'm going to try to stay away from doing the same type of character, so let's see what I can come up with. I had a moment of clarity that this series is basically for all the annoying kids who used to hang over my shoulder and watch me draw or ask me what I'm drawing. So why I'm not doing voiceovers for these, and I want to get better about doing voiceovers as far as discussing my character creation and my thought process, is basically because it's pretty cut and dry. Like, I don't have a prompt for these drawings outside of the color palette. It's basically just me deciding that I think these colors will work best for this type of character. And it's not much deeper than that, except for like when I decide to throw everything in the kitchen sink of the particular character. It's like, okay, I have the concept. Now how can I push that into an actual idea? How can I push that into a character that has personality or backstory, or at least an implied backstory? And that's kind of the case with the Frog Witch here. I knew that I wanted to do this kind of like sickly green little bratty type girl, and I did play around with the idea of doing a male character, but my default is female characters just because they're easier for me to draw, quite frankly. Male characters are so blocky, but this color palette also had a little bit of whimsy to it, and I guess I could, she starts off being kind of ambiguous, but whatever. So I'm just working out the idea of what is required of a frog that she would be a witch. So obviously we have the big floppy hat, we've got the little belt with bottles of mysterious liquids, and then I'm just kind of trying to dress her up a little bit and make her a little less menacing and more cute, but then I go in the opposite direction and push her back towards menacing. I don't show it in the drawing process, but somewhere between the inking and the coloring, I give her an extra set of arms, because for some reason in my brain that translated to, oh, more froggy. At the very least, it makes her top half present more frog, because with just the two hands, she just looks like a girl with froggy features, but with the extra set of arms, she looks like a frog that has been turned into a witch, or something in that vein. And I just thought it made the character design overall more fun and more fantasy-esque, because these characters are not supposed to be practical in any sense, but at the very least I could try to make them interesting, and that's kind of where I'm running into a couple of hiccups, like especially with number 7. I still haven't come back to that one by the time I'm doing this voiceover, by the way, which number 7 basically just ended up being a human, fashionable pose, and I think what I need to do is go back into my wheelhouse of making a fantasy type character instead of trying to draw a human with rainbow camouflage. But back to this cute little frog witch. I cover her in all of these, like, I wanted her to be gross as well, and so she just has all of these, like, pools of liquid dripping off of her hat. She's got lichens growing all over her body, and mushrooms, and they're even on her knives, they're on her hands, she has mud on her feet, but she still ends up being so cute somehow, and I don't know, I enjoy this character. Do I think it's one of my stronger characters? Not necessarily, but I do like this character. And I guess at the end of the day, as far as the challenge for, you know, that I'm presenting myself is, can I make this a readable palette? Can I make this palette work for a character? Can I make it believable and interesting? And I think I at least did that. So I don't think she's one of my strongest characters, but as far as the costume is interesting. She is interesting, but I know I've done better work in the past. In hindsight, I probably should have added a little bit of rim lighting, because the idea is that this is what I call bog light. I don't know if it makes sense, but like it's, you know, that kind of like underlit, creepy aesthetic. But then I also put a moon behind her, so it would have made a little more sense to put some rim light. But anyway, I'm deciding at this point what kind of shading I actually want it to be instead of just my generic multiply layer. I really like the purple, but then I pull back because the purple's not in the color palette. I may save an alternative version that has that purple shading instead of the blue, but this is the finished version of day number 8 with the Rain and Lilies color palette. I hope you enjoyed my drawing of my stinky little bratty frog witch. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a weird day.